Hey there, believe it or not, it's Roger Corman time again on this channel, and I found one that I didn't even know existed. It's been out for 8 years. Remake, sequel, reboot, reimagining of one of my favorite Roger Corman movies, Death Race 2000. This is not Death Race 2000. This is Death Race 2050. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, this movie, Death Race 2050, is not even half the movie that Death Race 2000 is. They're almost identical in premise. Government is run by big mega corporations, and the masses are just entertained with this like gladiatorial transcontinental road race sort of thing, where basically running over pedestrians gets you points. And killing off, like, just random people is worth points. Anyway, Death Race 2000 came out in 1975. Well, set in the year 2000, of course. So, like, 25 years in the future. I mean, it didn't predict a lot of technology or anything like that. As a matter of fact, the technology levels in the movie are almost like 1975 anyway. And Death Race 2050 is pretty much kind of the same thing, because in 2017, when this was made, they used the technology that was available to kind of project maybe a little bit in the future, but they don't predict a lot of technological advances. So there's the transcontinental road race, right? Well, this one's got a little bit of a twist on it. Not only is it a world broadcast or countrywide broadcast event, but it's not really broadcast. It's actually, streamed online or uploaded. People all around the United States of America, or the corporate states of America, or whatever it's called, they tune in, they watch the death race. And it has a little bit of a twist on it, because there's like a virtual reality sort of thing going on, and people can plug into the drivers and like see through their body cams and stuff like that, and their dash cams, and they're, basically they can stream it all live, but they're seeing it all like virtual reality. And there's even like I guess like a sensory sort of component to it. Like basically you plug in and it feels like you're in the car with Frankenstein. Oh yeah, Frankenstein. So he's the main driver, protagonist, I guess, in this. He's kind of like in Death Race 2000, David Carradine. He's Frankenstein, and he wears a mask, and apparently he's just come back year after year, even though he's like lost limbs and his face all messed up or something like that. Where in reality, he really is just like, it's a different guy every year, and they just put the same mask on him, and they just claim that he wins every year. And he does. He's played by, I don't know, some guy I've never heard of before. His name is Manu Bennett. Okay, he's new to me anyway. Basically everybody in this movie I've never heard of, except for Malcolm McDowell. Malcolm McDowell plays like the president, CEO of the corporate states of America. Yeah, he's corrupt and he wants to get reelected and stuff, and Frankenstein's supposed to be working for him, but meanwhile Frankenstein's influenced and part of this like resistance movement that's going to overthrow the president. Yeah, it's the same plot as Death Race 2000. But you don't get Machine Gun Joe. Machine Gun Joe Viterbo, played by Sylvester Stallone. What the hell, man? Why wouldn't you jump at the chance to replicate that character, who was the best character in that first movie? I guess, it's hard to outdo Stallone. At least in that role, my favorite of his. No, you get like other racers. They don't copy the same racers from Death Race 2000. There's like, you don't get the Nazi one, you don't get the cowboy one or whatever, cowgirl or whatever it's supposed to be. No, here you get like some religious Bible lady, and she's pretty over the top, pretty extreme, pretty Christianity in your face kind of thing. And she's got like a cult behind her, or I guess it's considered a cult. The Cult of Tammy. I remember her name. The other ones I don't remember their names. The one guy, his name is Jed Perfectus, and he's like a test tube baby or something maybe, or he's like genetically bred to be like the ultimate driver or warrior or whatever the hell, and he's like thinks he's Mr. Perfect, and meanwhile he's a huge asshole and he's dumb as fuck, and the movie's kind of about like embarrassing him. And I don't know his name, but I didn't mind the actor that did this guy. He played it okay, over the top, ridiculous like it should be, but he just ends up getting like beat up by all the other characters and makes an ass of himself in the whole movie. But he thinks he's like the shit, and ends up losing. So hey, and then you get like another driver. I can't remember her name. She's like a rap star, so she's like making a video or filming a video, and she plays her songs and stuff like as she's like killing people and running them over, and people are like throwing themselves at her because they're such huge fans and they want to die for her and her career. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. Just like that first one. But there's another like kind of new twist. There's like a self-driving car. So basically it's just the car itself is the other driver, and there is a navigator, but basically she's just a woman that sits in the passenger seat and like runs a computer and streams and stuff, and car does all the driving and all the thinking by itself, and she's just in charge of the PR, I guess. Yeah, so like all the drivers have like a sidekick, like a navigator, like they did in Death Race 2000. Frankenstein's navigator, of course, turns out to be like the rebel. Just like in the first one, she's affiliated with the resistance movement, actually tries to get Frankenstein killed, but then they end up teaming up, and by the end of it, they of course have to win the race and or kill all the other drivers and kill the president by the end of it. Spoilers. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of plods along through that same plot that we saw in 1975, or of course I didn't see it in 1975, but you know what I mean? The movie that was made in 1975, Death Race 2000. I don't know, and this seems like a movie that they just kind of slapped Roger Corman's name on it, and he threw a bunch of money at it, and he said like, hey, yeah, you can use that idea. Sure, why not? I mean, Roger Corman at this point was probably like 92 or something, and he's probably like, yeah, okay, as long as it can make some money, like, sure. Well, it does do that tiny little service of like calling back to the original. Really, it just like takes that and runs with it and does its own thing. But it's, it's like that early 2000s, late 2000s kind of, I don't know, exploitation kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of gun violence in there. There's a lot of vehicular violence and gore, and it's super cheesy, and everything's shot like a Marilyn Manson video, like just like super quick cuts, and just everything's so extreme and in your face. Like, yeah, but it didn't work for me. I'm sorry. I didn't think this was even half as good as Death Race 2000. Sorry, Roger. I know this is later in your career, and I'm sure that you probably weren't even on set like ever for this. I don't know, Death Race 2050, I'd be pushing it even to give it like a C+. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a C. C for could have been a lot better. Or C for Corman. I don't know. He's made a lot of C movies. Yeah, I don't hold Roger Corman personally responsible for this movie or anything. And I was not impressed with it at all. So, sorry, Roger, but we got to give Death Race 2050 a C. Anyway, until the next time, have a good one, everybody.